Welcome to the show. I'm Carol O'Halloran. A special warm welcome for those first timers joining us today. Now this show is all about age is just a number. It doesn't define who we are. Today we talk again with Michelle Lord. This time we're talking about ageism. You'll be surprised to know it's not just younger people making ageist statements. You yourself may be thinking and communicating in an ageist way without even realizing it. Please join us in the fun, low-impact 5 minutes fitness segment after the break. And lastly, we're going to play footy with the AFL Masters and the new Quick Kick program, which means even if you're a woman, even if you've never played footy, and even if you're over 50, you can still follow your passion and give it a go. Footy is specially modified for us more mature. We also meet footy legend Belinda Blousey Bowie, breaking AFL records. Today on Energy for Life, we welcome back Michelle Lord, who is passionate about the prevention of elder abuse. And part of this is about preventing ageism in our community. Michelle has been working with the Southern Melbourne Elder Abuse Prevention Network, and she led the team to develop the Framing Age message guide. This helps individuals and organisations to reframe the way we think and talk about ageing. Hi Michelle, and welcome back to Over 50 So What?
Hi Carol, thank you.
Now last time we had a great chat about elder abuse and elder abuse prevention. Today we're going to look at ageism, which is closely interlinked with elder abuse. Can you just explain for us ageism and how that leads to elder abuse?
So ageism is the stereotyping or discriminating against people based on their age. It can impact people of any age, but because of my work in elder abuse prevention, I focus on ageism against older people. And the reason for that is that holding negative attitudes towards older people creates an environment where elder abuse can occur because it creates an acceptance for reduced rights of older people.
We've discussed earlier, it's so easy to put ageist statements into everyday language. Can you give us some examples of things that people commonly say and how they could be rephrased?
One of the things we often do when we're being ageist is that we tend to assume that getting older is bad. So an example of that would be, you're never too old to learn to dance. So the implication when you're saying that is that it's a young person's activity, but I'll try and be positive and say older people can do it.
You might find someone in their 80s saying that they are too old to learn to dance, or they might, or the opposite. So the ageist statements can be even from an older person.
Absolutely. We call that internalized ageism. So that's where inside yourself, you're thinking along ageist lines about what you can and can't do. And I certainly have some people in my life that do that a lot. I guess if we examine why would that 80-year-old say I'm too old to learn to dance, is that because they don't have confidence to try new things anymore? Is it because of health issues? If it's because of health issues, that's nothing to do with age. You can have health issues in your 20s that make it difficult to learn to dance. So it's about the way we frame the thinking about age and ability.
I think another common one is technology, that, older people are no good with technology, and I know 90-year-olds have got their own YouTube channels.
Absolutely. I think what you've highlighted there, Carol, with both your examples is a willingness to learn. You can be any age and be willing to learn new technology and new physical activity. Equally, you can be any age and not willing to learn those things. So again, it's not age, it's that willingness to learn.
Now, you were a driving force in the Elder Abuse Prevention Network to develop the Framing Age message guide. Can you tell us about this guide? It's designed to help individuals and organisations to change how we think and talk about ageing.
Because our focus is on preventing elder abuse before it can even begin, we wanted to address the environmental factors that contributed, which in this case is ageism. So it was clear to us that ageism is not only extremely prevalent in our society, It's also still very accepted. Unlike racism or sexism, which are almost universally challenged today, ageism is not. So that led us to engage with Common Cause Australia to conduct research and to write the message guide to help everyone talk about age, ageing and issues that affect older people, and in that way reduce ageist attitudes and behaviours.
So the Framing Age message guide helps people to become aware of their attitudes and in their communication styles if you're a business. So it will help people with all those issues.
Absolutely. It's very much a communication guide, and whether that is business or community communications, formal communications, or whether it's just the way you think and feel about it individually and how you speak to other people, can be just as helpful.
So anyone watching today, if they want to become more aware of their own language, what do you suggest they do to become better at not using ageist statements?
I think one of the great places to start would be to check out the Every Age Counts campaign. This is a national campaign designed to address ageism in all its forms across Australia. And I can thoroughly recommend having a look at the Are You Ageist quiz on their website, and you can find that at everyagecounts.org.au. Most people can be quite surprised at the answers that they get from that quiz.
How do we go about helping people and organisations? If we notice an ageist statement or someone doing some sort of activity which is ageist, what do you suggest we do?
As we've just discussed, I think the most important step is to become aware of our own attitudes first, because if we're not aware of that, then we're going to accidentally reinforce those things ourselves. We can also help people and organisations to understand that older people are just as diverse in their interests, needs and desires as younger people. Lots of things change as we get older, but our individuality definitely doesn't.
Now, ageism is all about age stereotypes. Is it more prevalent for someone in their 20s and 30s to be ageist rather than someone in their 50s and 60s?
As I mentioned earlier, ageism can impact people of any age. So I don't believe that there's an age group that's more ageist than any other. But when we conducted our research to develop the message guide, we found that although people aged 18 to 34 were more opposed to our messages, every single age group was equally persuadable to view age and ageing in a more positive way as a result of the way we reframed messages. That's why the message guide is so important, because if we can persuade people to look at it from a slightly different angle, see things slightly differently, then they're just as likely as any other age group to be less ageist.
Well, I'll give you an example now. Someone's children saying to their parent, oh, you're 70 now, there's no way you should be jumping on a zip line or you should be doing this. And her children were worried that she was going to damage herself because she was out, cycling and jumping on zip lines and everything at 70. If you were talking to your children or grandchildren who are, saying, you've got to slow down, no, you're too brittle now, you're too frail, what would you say to your child or your grandchild?
Requests from the children and grandchildren come from a place of love. They're concerned for your welfare, but they are ageist. They're very ageist. And as the 70-year-old zipliner or, 80-year-old parachuter or whatever you want to be, we have the right to make those decisions for ourselves. No one has the right to make those decisions for us. And so it's really important for family members to understand that it's really important for your well-being to be able to make those independent decisions and to participate in activities that interest you.
What are your top tips for all of us to become just really conscious of what we're saying and thinking?
My two top tips would be looking for those similarities rather than focusing on differences between age groups, and celebrating diversity, not the stereotypes. And we can do that sort of thing by spending time with people in all age groups. And it's great if we can all just stop and check every so often. Ask yourself, is age relevant here? And if so, how?
I love that. Is age relevant? If you just ask yourself that question, that immediately shines a light. Oh,
absolutely. Another trick with that is substitute race or gender when you've mentioned age. And very often you'll find it's very jarring. So if you find it very jarring, you shouldn't have had age in there either.
Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks for watching our TV show. Be sure to hit subscribe and then you'll never miss an episode. Jump on Facebook, join our group, get in on the fun, fitness, wellness and inspiration. I'm Carol, over 50. So what?